Welcome back to ROXY'S Music Store's presentation of the operational and feature differences between an acoustic and a Roland V-Accordion. There are a variety of important features that are provided on most electronic instruments that are often overlooked by people whose experience is only acoustic. The first that I would like to show is the ability to conveniently recall a wide variety of instrument selections of your choice simultaneously using a single register selection. Each register selection that I made provided a different combination of orchestral and percussion sounds. On many electronic keyboards, this feature is called performance memory or registration memory. On a V-Accordion, it's called user program. The idea is for me to associate as many instrument changes as I want to a particular register button for instant recall later. Thus, the register buttons can serve multiple purposes, either to select treble side reed combinations, as they do by default, or redefined as I wish to accomplish a wide variety of instrument configuration changes. Obviously, the register buttons on an acoustic accordion can serve only one purpose, and that is treble side reed combinations. One aspect of any accordion is the relative dynamic level of the bass and treble sides. On my acoustics, this is fixed by the design of the reeds. Personally, I think both of my acoustics are designed well in that regard. Their bass reeds are neither too loud nor too soft compared to the treble for most of my practice lessons. However, with certain pieces, I feel that it would be better if the bass could be made a little louder or a little softer than the treble. On my Titano, I have no control over this. On my Hohner, I can partially accomplish this by changing the reed combination on the bass side. But that's really limited, and besides, it also affects the tonality. On a V-Accordion, I can adjust the bass to treble balance over a very wide range without any change in tonality. On the FR1X, bass to treble balance is adjusted using an internal parameter. The FR3X and FR7X both have a convenient front panel rotary adjustment control. Acoustic accordions don't have this capability at all. One often mentioned concern about musical instruments is whether or not they require regular maintenance. Acoustic accordions are pretty reliable instruments. However, one fact of life is, over time, the leather valves, whose purpose is to allow air to pass in only one direction through the reeds, and which must be both flexible and lie flat, tend to harden and curl over time, affecting sound quality, air leakage, and even tuning. This is especially true of older instruments that have been kept in an attic with seasonal temperature variations. You can expect to inherit this problem if you buy a used accordion on eBay. Having the leathers changed on an acoustic accordion at an accordion shop is an expensive job. In contrast, a V-accordion has no leathers. Another issue with acoustics is the key and register mechanisms going out of whack with use. Here again, the V-accordion has the advantage that the key and register mechanisms are a lot simpler than they are on an acoustic. An acoustic has rods, levers, air valve pads, all of which can degrade with use. On a V-accordion, there are only electrical switches, which are far more reliable. Another fact of life with all musical instruments is tuning. The reeds of most acoustic accordions are pretty reliable and remain in tune for long periods of time. I've checked my instruments on a chromatic tuner and every note is pitch perfect. Still, with years of use, some acoustic accordions do require retuning. I've heard some people blame this on oxidation of the reeds, and retuning an accordion requires exceptional expertise. Whatever the reason, it does not happen on a V-accordion. Like any electronic instrument, such as a keyboard, a V-accordion never requires retuning. Some people worry that the electronic circuitry of a V-accordion is very delicate and may require regular professional adjustment. That is simply not so. The circuitry inside a V-accordion is similar to that of any of today's computerized devices, like smartphones or computers. Such circuitry consists of hermetically sealed integrated devices like microprocessors and memory chips, devices that last for years without adjustment. Of course, one should not treat a V-accordion roughly, but then that's true of any musical instrument. In part 3 of this presentation series, I promised to say something about the relative tonal quality of an acoustic accordion versus a V-accordion. I think on that question, it's best to let you be the judge. I will therefore conclude this presentation series with a short portion of a level 1 practice piece played on my Hohner, on my Titano, and even on a third acoustic. It's a Scandali, which is renowned for excellent tonal quality. These instruments are representative of the tonal quality of most acoustic accordions. In the case of the V-accordion, my FR1X, I will demonstrate first using the instrument's default accordion sound, thus showing how it sounds right out of the box. Second, I will use an accordion reed combination and bass sound that I personally prefer when playing accordion music. And finally, third, I will demonstrate the piece played in full using my chromatic button version of the FR1X with a BK7M backing module. So, what do you think of the relative sound of an acoustic versus a V-accordion? Of course, the example piece was very simple, but often when making such comparisons, it's advantageous to keep the music simple and let the tonality of the instruments stand out. And by playing at the very end with the BK, I demonstrate that all V-accordions, by their very nature, are MIDI instruments. And obviously, my acoustic instruments are not. True, some people do use MIDI-equipped acoustic accordions, but such instruments are typically more expensive than an FR7X. And many do not even generate bellows expression messages, as all V-accordions do. Playing such acoustic MIDI instruments using the orchestral treble sounds of any MIDI arranger requires an expression pedal and is more like playing an organ than playing an accordion. And yes, of course, I could have just as easily played the BK using my piano version of the FR1X. But I thought it important to show that V-accordions do come in the chromatic button style, and for those who are curious about it, yes, it works very well. And finally, my BK example demonstrates how, with a V-accordion, it's easy for any beginning level accordionists not only to have fun with their music, but to impress family and friends with more professional sounding performances. Well, I hope you found this presentation helpful in choosing an instrument that's best for you. Remember, the people at ROXY'S stand ready to help not only in choosing your instrument, but in supporting you after your purchase is made.